My mom pushed my boyfriend to marry my little sister because she was more stunning. I left them all behind. Years later, they regretted it when they met my husband. Naomi had always believed blood meant protection. That no matter how hard the world became, her mother's house would be the one place she could lay her head and feel safe. She was wrong. She stood in front of the bathroom mirror that morning, smoothing down the hem of her soft blue dress, trying to calm the nervous flutter in her chest. Today was supposed to be important. She and Marcus had been together for 4 years, 4 long years of building, struggling, and dreaming. And today, he was finally coming over to speak with her mother properly. That was how her mom liked to say it, like love needed a formal interview. Naomi smiled at her reflection, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Everything is going to be fine," she whispered to herself. From the hallway, laughter floated in, high-pitched, carefree, and familiar. Her little sister, Ava. Ava was everything Naomi wasn't allowed to be. Louder, flashier, softer with her mistakes. The kind of girl who could mess up and still be called baby. Naomi, on the other hand, had been the strong one since she was 12. The responsible one. The one expected to understand. She stepped out of the bathroom and walked into the living room. Marcus was already there. He rose when he saw her, his smile warm, reassuring. Tall, dark-skinned, clean-cut, with that quiet confidence Naomi had fallen in love with back in college. He reached for her hand instinctively. "You look beautiful," he said softly. Before Naomi could respond, her mother's voice cut through the air. "Ava, baby, come sit right here." Naomi turned. Her mother, Denise, was patting the couch beside her, right next to Marcus. Ava giggled and slid into the seat, her thigh brushing Marcus's arm as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She wore a tight yellow dress, her hair freshly braided, gloss shining on her lips. She didn't even look at Naomi. She didn't have to. Naomi felt something shift in her chest. "Mom," Naomi said carefully, "I thought today was..." "To talk," Denise interrupted, waving her hand. "Yes, that's exactly what we're doing." She leaned back, crossed her legs, and looked between Marcus and Ava with a thoughtful hum. Marcus cleared his throat. "Mrs. Johnson, I just want to say..." "Denise," she corrected quickly. "We're family here." Naomi swallowed. Denise's eyes lingered on Ava, then slowly drifted to Marcus. She smiled. Not the polite smile she gave Naomi. This one was soft. Approving. "You know," Denise began, "I've been thinking a lot about you, Marcus." Naomi's fingers tightened around the strap of her purse. "I see potential in you," Denise continued. "You're a good man. Hard-working. Handsome. And you deserve a woman who truly compliments you." Naomi felt her heart start to pound. Marcus nodded politely. "I appreciate that." Denise tilted her head, studying Ava like she was inspecting a diamond. Someone vibrant. Someone stunning. Someone who brings out your best. Ava laughed shyly. "Mom, stop." Naomi couldn't breathe. "And Naomi," Denise added, finally glancing her way, "has always been independent." There it was. That word. Independent. The polite way of saying on your own. "She's strong," Denise continued. "Too strong sometimes. Always chasing things. Always distant. But Ava?" She smiled again. "Ava has a softness. A warmth." Naomi's voice trembled. "Mom, what are you saying?" Denise didn't answer her. Instead, she looked straight at Marcus and said the words that would fracture Naomi's life forever. "She's more stunning and suits you better." The room went silent. Naomi stared at her mother, waiting for laughter. A joke. Anything. None came. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Mrs. Denise, I'm with Naomi." Denise sighed, shaking her head. "For now." Naomi felt heat rush to her face. "For now." Denise leaned forward, lowering her voice as if she were sharing wisdom. "Men like you need peace. Support. Not competition." Naomi has always wanted more. Career, independence, distance. But Ava? She gestured lightly. "She would worship you." Ava's cheeks flushed, but She didn't deny it. Naomi looked at her sister. Say something. Ava finally met her eyes, guilt flickering for just a second, then disappearing. I just think Mom wants what's best for everyone. Naomi laughed. It came out sharp, broken. Everyone but me. Marcus stood up. This conversation is inappropriate. Denise waved him off. Think about it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, don't lock yourself into something that doesn't fit. Naomi felt her knees weaken. For years of love, struggle, late nights, dreams whispered in the dark, and her own mother had reduced her to a bad fit. She turned to Marcus, eyes shining. You don't believe this. Tell me you don't. Marcus hesitated. Just for a moment. But that moment was everything. Naomi saw it then. The seed. The doubt. The way Ava's knee still brushed his arm. The way her mother watched them like a matchmaker instead of a parent. That was when Naomi understood. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a betrayal. She straightened her back, lifting her chin the way she had learned to do every time life disappointed her. I don't need answers, she said quietly. I see enough. Denise scoffed. Don't be dramatic. Naomi grabbed her purse. I'm not. I'm done. She walked to the door, heart shattering with every step. Marcus called her name. Naomi, wait. She didn't. Outside, the sun felt too bright. Too normal for a world that had just collapsed. As she walked away from her childhood home, one thought burned in her chest. If this is what family looks like, I'll build a new one. She didn't know it yet, but that decision, the decision to distance herself, to leave, to chase greener pastures, would one day change everything. Naomi didn't cry when she left her mother's house. Not then. She walked 3 blocks before her legs started shaking. Another block before the pressure in her chest became unbearable. By the time she reached the bus stop, her hands were trembling so badly she had to sit down. People passed by, laughing, arguing, living, but Naomi felt invisible. Like she had slipped out of her own life without anyone noticing. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. She stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then another buzz. A text this time. Let's talk.
Your mom didn't mean it like that.
Naomi let out a hollow laugh. Didn't mean it like what? Like choosing her sister over her? Like planting doubt in a man she had loved for years? Like reminding her, once again, that in her own family, she was always second? She typed one sentence. I need space. Then she turned her phone off. That night, Naomi packed 2 suitcases. She didn't have a detailed plan, just a direction. Forward.
Away.
She had a small savings account, a college degree she had worked herself sick for, and a stubborn streak her mother had always criticized. By morning, she was gone. She moved to another state, somewhere nobody knew her last name, somewhere her sister wasn't the pretty one, and her mother wasn't the final authority on her worth. She rented a tiny studio apartment with thin walls and a broken heater. The kind of place where ambition mattered more than comfort. Naomi worked 2 jobs at first. One during the day, one at night. She learned how to stretch $1 until it cried. Learned how to walk past couples holding hands without flinching. Learned how to sleep alone without reaching for someone who wasn't there anymore. The hardest part wasn't Marcus. It was Ava. Because unlike Marcus, Ava never reached out. Never apologized. Never checked in. She posted photos instead. Engagement parties. Matching outfits. Family dinners Naomi wasn't invited to. And Denise? Denise told anyone who would listen that Naomi was too proud and ran away because she couldn't accept advice. Naomi accepted the silence. Months passed, then a year. Slowly, the pain dulled. Not disappeared, but transformed. It turned into focus. She went back to school at night, earned certifications, took on leadership roles no one else wanted. When coworkers complained, Naomi learned. When bosses doubted her, she delivered results so undeniable they had no choice but to notice. She didn't date much. Trust felt expensive, and she couldn't afford another emotional loss. Still, life kept moving. One afternoon, during her 3rd year in the new city, Naomi attended a professional networking event she almost skipped. She wore a simple black dress, minimal makeup, hair pulled back. Nothing flashy. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. That was when she met Daniel. He wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. He didn't scan the room looking for someone better while pretending to listen. When Naomi spoke, he listened, really listened, asked thoughtful questions, remembered her answers. He was older, established, calm in a way that felt unfamiliar. They didn't exchange numbers that night, but a week later, they ran into each other again. Then again. Coffee turned into conversations. Conversations turned into consistency. Daniel never rushed her, never questioned her boundaries. When Naomi finally opened up about her family, her sister, her mother, he didn't interrupt. He just said, that wasn't love. That was control. The words hit her harder than she expected. With Daniel, Naomi learned what safety felt like. Not the loud, dramatic kind. The quiet kind. The kind where your nervous system finally relaxes. Years passed. Meanwhile, back home, life unfolded very differently. Ava married Marcus. The wedding was big, expensive,
Loud.
Denise beamed like she had personally won a prize. She told anyone who would listen, I always knew Ava was the right one for him. At first, everything looked perfect. Photos, smiles, vacations. But perfection cracks under pressure. Marcus struggled with the weight of expectations. Ava struggled with comparison. The same softness Denise praised became something she criticized when bills piled up and reality set in. Denise inserted herself into their marriage the same way she had inserted herself into Naomi's relationship. Advice turned into opinions.
Opinions turned into demands.
And still, none of them spoke Naomi's name unless it was followed by criticism. She thinks she's better than us now. She abandoned her family. She'll come back when she needs help. But Naomi never did. By the time she turned 32, she was unrecognizable. Not because of how she looked, but because of how she carried herself.
Her shoulders were relaxed. Her voice steady.
Her laughter genuine. Daniel proposed quietly. No audience. No pressure. She said yes, without hesitation. They married out of state.
Small ceremony.
Close friends. No drama. Naomi didn't send invitations home. She didn't need to. Years later, when life had finally settled into something beautiful, fate intervened. Daniel received an invitation to a charity gala hosted by a prestigious organization. One that required attendance by spouses. Naomi skimmed the details absent-mindedly until she saw the location.
Her hometown.
Her stomach tightened. You don't have to go, Daniel said gently, already reading her face. Naomi thought about the girl who had walked away with 2 suitcases and a broken heart. About the woman she had become. About the silence she had survived. No, she said calmly. I do. She didn't know it yet, but that event would bring her face to face with the people who had once decided she wasn't enough. Naomi hadn't been back home in nearly 8 years. As the car slowed in front of the grand hotel hosting the charity gala, she felt a familiar tightness creep into her chest. Not fear, but memory. This was the city that had watched her grow up responsible, overlooked, and expected to endure. The city where her own mother had decided she was expendable. Daniel reached for her hand. You okay? Naomi nodded. I am. And she meant it. She stepped out of the car in a deep emerald gown that hugged her figure with quiet elegance. Nothing loud. Nothing forced. Just confidence. The kind that didn't beg for approval. Inside the ballroom, crystal chandeliers glowed above polished floors. Guests moved in clusters, dressed in tailored suits and designer dresses. Laughter floated through the air, mixed with the clinking of glasses. And then, Denise saw her. At first, her eyes skimmed past Naomi like she was a stranger. Then her gaze snapped back. Her smile froze. The color drained from her face. Is that? Denise whispered, gripping Ava's arm. Ava turned. Her breath caught.
Naomi.
Not the Naomi she remembered. Not the quiet, accommodating sister who used to shrink herself to keep the peace. This Naomi walked with purpose.
Head high.
Hand intertwined with a man Ava didn't recognize, but instantly noticed.
Tall.
Broad-shouldered, well-dressed, confident without arrogance. Who is that? Ava asked sharply. Before Denise could respond, Marcus stepped closer, squinting. That's Naomi. His voice carried disbelief, regret, something unfinished. Naomi felt their eyes on her before she saw them. Old instincts tried to rise, but she didn't flinch. Daniel leaned closer. Do you want to leave? Naomi shook her head. Not yet. They approached the check-in table, and the attendant's tone immediately shifted when Daniel spoke. Good evening, Dr. Whitmore. We're honored to have you. Denise's eyes widened.
Dr.
Ava stiffened. Marcus swallowed. Naomi smiled politely, accepting her badge. Dr. Whitmore, Chief Medical Director of one of the largest healthcare foundations in the region. Respected, wealthy, influential, and her husband. As Naomi turned, her gaze met her family's. Silence stretched. Finally, Denise forced a smile and rushed forward. Naomi. Oh my goodness, look at you. Naomi returned the smile.
Calm.
Controlled. Hello, Denise. Not Mom. Denise flinched but recovered quickly. You didn't tell us you were coming. Naomi shrugged lightly. You didn't ask. Ava's eyes darted between Naomi and Daniel. So, you're married? Yes, Naomi replied. Happily. Marcus cleared his throat. I didn't know you lived so well. Naomi met his gaze, steady. You never ask. Daniel extended his hand. Daniel Whitmore. Marcus shook it, his grip unsure. Marcus. Daniel smiled politely. Nice to meet you. There was no tension in Daniel's voice. No insecurity. And that alone unsettled Marcus more than anger ever could. Denise laughed nervously. Well, look how life turns out. Everything happens for a reason. Naomi tilted her head. It does. A pause. Denise leaned closer, lowering her voice. We should talk later. Family talk. Naomi shook her head gently. There's nothing left to discuss. The words landed harder than shouting ever could. As Naomi and Daniel walked away, Ava's jaw tightened. She thinks she's better than us. Denise whispered. No. She is doing better. Across the room, whispers spread. That's Dr. Whitmore's wife. She's stunning. Did you know she came from here? Marcus stood frozen, watching Naomi laugh, really laugh, as Daniel spoke with colleagues who clearly respected him.
Respected them.
For the first time, the truth hit him fully. Naomi hadn't lost anything. They had. By the end of the evening, the truth was unavoidable. Naomi was no longer the forgotten daughter. She wasn't the sister people compared unfavorably. She wasn't the woman who had been too much or not enough. She was the woman everyone wanted to know. Daniel moved through the ballroom with ease, greeting donors, board members, and city leaders by name. Each introduction carried weight. And this is my wife, Naomi. Not my partner. Not my date. My wife. Every time he said it, something in Naomi healed just a little more. Denise watched from a distance, her smile brittle. She had spent years telling herself Naomi would come back humbled, struggling, apologetic. Instead, Naomi had returned elevated. Ava, on the other hand, couldn't stop staring. She watched the way Daniel subtly adjusted Naomi's shawl when the room cooled. The way he leaned in to listen when she spoke. The way Naomi never had to compete for attention. She naturally commanded it. Marcus stood beside Ava, silent. He hadn't said much since the introductions. Every laugh Naomi shared with Daniel felt like a reminder of a life he might have had if he had chosen courage over comfort, loyalty over approval. Near the dessert table, a board member approached Naomi. You must be the reason Daniel survived residency, the woman joked warmly. He always credits you. Naomi smiled. We support each other. Support. The word echoed in Denise's mind like an accusation. Later that night, Denise finally approached alone. Naomi, she said softly, dropping the performative cheer. I was hard on you. I see that now. Naomi looked at her, not with anger, but clarity. You weren't hard on me. You sacrificed me. Denise's eyes welled up. I thought I was doing what was best. For who? Naomi asked gently. Denise had no answer. Across the room, Ava tried to make small talk with Daniel. Compliments. Curiosity disguised as admiration. Daniel remained polite, but distant. His eyes always returned to Naomi. Finally, Marcus stepped forward. Naomi, I owe you an apology. Naomi met his gaze. You owed me loyalty back then. Silence. That chapter's closed, she added calmly. And just like that, it was... When the night ended, Naomi walked out of the hotel hand in hand with her husband, past the people who once decided her worth. She didn't look back, because greener pastures aren't found. They're built. Thank you lovelies for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give this story a thumbs up. Thank you lovelies.